Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Hey, Montgomery County, this is Mike. We're back with the Moco Sidelines Sports Show. This is show number 2. They actually let me back in the studio. I'm as surprised as you are. So we're going to make the most of it. We're going to have a good time, and we're going to talk about our local Montgomery County high school sports. We've got a couple of great interviews, a couple of great reports to bring to you. We are in late September, beautiful time of the year. Fall is coming. Sports are everywhere. And congrats to all of the great athletes that are doing great things out there right now in Montgomery County. We've got a lot of things going on. Football is in full stride, of course. You have volleyball in full stride. Congrats to Grand Oaks, who continues to dominate the division here. They are 8-0, but a very strong Oak Ridge team is right behind them at 7-1. I got to see Oak Ridge play earlier this week. They took on Woodlands in a fantastic match. I tell you what, I haven't been to a volleyball match in quite a while. I watch a lot of baseball. I watch a lot of football, as you can imagine. And that is some fast-paced, high-action sports. It was intense. It was great to watch. If you haven't been out to a high school volleyball game in a while, treat yourself. Get online, find your local team, find your favorite school, go catch some volleyball. It was amazing. Congrats to Oak Ridge for the season that they are having. They're on a 3-win streak. They're 7-1. College Park is at 6-2 right behind them, and a really strong Willis team we heard from Coach Jenkins last show. They're 5-3. So big things going on there. Football, of course, is a lot on everyone's mind as well. We've got a couple of great interviews coming up here in the show. We talked to Coach HARDEMAN at Conroe. We talked with Coach RAPP at Woodlands, doing amazing things with their teams. And, of course, as you know, things in District 13-6A are really heating up. Willis and College Park remain the 2 undefeated teams in District at 2-0. But the Woodlands is at 1-1, Oak Ridge at 1-1, and so is Grand Oaks. So a lot of great things going on with the teams there. Again, like I said, we've got a couple of really good interviews coming up with Coach HARDEMAN and Coach RAPP. Stay tuned as we get into those here in a few minutes. But as you know, we try to do a show within a show, and we are talking about a life value, as we always do, and you're going to hear the coaches talk about character and how they're developing it, how they're teaching it to their athletes, and how they are exemplifying it themselves and all that they do, or at least trying to do their very best. So you're going to hear them talk about character. Hopefully you've given a little bit of reflection in the last couple of weeks as well with some of the things in the news with the life that you're living out there, and maybe how you have brought some of your values if you played sports or were involved in other activities growing up. How are you exemplifying character in all that you do and say, and how you treat other people out there? It's a great world. There's a lot of great things going on, and there's a lot of great things to see with our young athletes, which is why we are here to celebrate them. So as we get into show number 2 here, we're going to hear Coach HARDEMAN talk about how he's developing his team, his history, his story, how he applies his theory on momentum with his team. That's an interesting concept that he has there. And then we're going to hear Coach RAPP talk again as well. So, hey, thank you for joining us. Thank you, as always, to Lone Star Community Radio for helping us to promote and produce this show. We do have our producer, Dick, is in the studio right here with us today. He's the prince of our podcast. He's the ruler of our radio show, and he is here behind the scenes. When we come back, you'll hear from Coach HARDEMAN. We'll jump right into that interview. See you in a minute. Hey, Montgomery County, Mike with the Moco Sidelines Sports Show. Join us every Thursday here on irlonestar.com, Lone Star Community Radio, to catch our brand new show. This is a brand new show. We're just trying to get this off the ground to let local folks, listeners like you, know about our great high school athletes, their teams, the stories and the coaches behind them. So, hey, this is your part. This is where you come in. Spread the word and send some feedback and information and ideas our way. Spread the word, first of all. Watch us on YouTube, stream the show on Spotify, and look for us very soon coming to Apple. And, of course, you can always catch every show and all of the great shows on Lone Star Community Radio at irlonestar.com. And to reach me, drop me an email. You can also message through Facebook. We've got a Facebook page, facebook.com, of course. Moco Sidelines Sports Show, Moco Sidelines Sports Show. That's the Facebook page. That's also the Gmail address, Moco Sidelines Sports Show at gmail.com. Send me your stories, your ideas. If you're an athlete, parent of an athlete, friend, coach, faculty in the school, and there's some great things going on. One guy doing one show cannot keep up with all of the great things with the 9 schools here in Montgomery County. And we've got great stories with our cross country, with our golf, with our soccer, not to mention just the volleyball and the football. So shoot me your ideas, stories. Hopefully we can cover it, touch on it, talk about it, and get more information out to all of our listeners. So for myself here at Moco Sideline Sports Show and Lone Star Community Radio, thank you. Listen up, listen soon, and listen often. Take care. Hey, everybody. We're joined today by Conroe head football coach CEDRIC HARDEMAN, Conroe Tigers. Coach, thank you for joining us today. You're a busy man, even though you're in a bye week here. It's week 5 of the season. So I know you're busy. Thank you for giving us a few minutes to catch up with you and see what's going on with your Tigers. How are you, man?
Doing good. I appreciate you having me on. We're in bye week. We try to get better in the bye week. That's the focus. So, but at the same time, kind of get healthy, get our legs back a little bit, refresh some of the coaches, and go with this last stretch.
Well, it certainly started off fast and furious. You're off to a 3-1 start. You've had some big wins. Had one tough loss, but even if anybody who was at the College Park game, that first half was close. I mean, you guys were in it right there up until about a minute left in the first half. It was a real close game. It slipped away, but your Tigers are 3-1 and trying to get back to the playoffs again. So we're going to come back. We're going to talk about the season, but I'd like to go back to the end of last season. You had the playoff win, and then went into the off season. Let's talk about where you started there, prepping for 2025. What was the offseason like? What was your goals? What were the goals and strategy of the team to have a good campaign this year?
We had a good group last year, a real good senior group. Every year we ask the kids to try to get better. And one of the things we do as a staff, and myself as a head coach and the leader of the group, is try to get better. So we try to find ways and things that we can do. Going into last year, we focused on Good to Great. It's a book that we read as a staff and talked about different things and attributes, looking at successful companies that go from good companies to great companies and trying to pull out some of those characteristics into our team. And we implemented some of those last year. And then this year was really about leadership. We read a book called Extreme Leadership, which is another book that was suggested to us, and kind of really focusing on that. Every year we try to have we have 5 phases. I tell them in high school football, in Texas high school football, there's no off season. So we try to construct the off season in the phases. Phase 1 is an evaluation time for us. Phase 2 is what we call foundation. Phase 3 is skills. Phase 4 is summer, and phase 5 is the season. So as soon as the season was over with, we celebrated with that group. We went right into phase 1 and just trying to evaluate where we were in the program, where we wanted to be, some of the things we needed to get better at. And then over the break of Christmas, that's when I kind of formulate kind of almost like a business plan of, okay, what we need to do, what we need to focus on during the foundation and start retooling for this season. So we don't believe in momentum here. We just believe in the habits that we have. There's no such thing as momentum. And so every year we go about reconstructing the team from scratch, like it's a brand new team. And so it's helped out, over the last couple of years. I think it's one of the reasons why we've had the success that we've had, because we start from the bottom with the kids and them understanding that whatever happened last year has no effect on this year. We have to recreate our own habits every year. So it's been good. Kids worked hard. And it's season here before you know it. You're looking up and you're already, 4 games in.
And I think this year required a lot of rebuilding, if I'm not mistaken. I think you graduated 48 seniors last year. I mean, that's definitely going into the new season with a lot of new people, a lot of new players and faces. So what you're saying about momentum and rebuilding and constructing, yeah, those phases had to be pretty important to the new team. You talk a lot about business and business plans as well. Let's go back and talk about your background a little bit. You were a ball player, but then I think I read you actually before getting into coaching, you spent about 10 years in the corporate world, in the business world.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
talk to us a little bit about that journey and then how you wound up getting back to coaching.
After college, I had my son in college, and one of the things, I was always say, the Lord had blessed me with the experience kind of growing up, with a mom who was an educator, and then with a dad who played in the league. So I got a chance to see kind of what that life was about, and in college, I played ball at University of Houston. Everybody's goal is to go to college and go to the NFL and play. But my thing is I kind of, I wanted to be successful. Having my son in college allowed me to kind of prioritize, what that looked like, and allowed me to look at other things other than just the NFL, as such. And so, it was a hard time during college to kind of balance everything, but then it was the best thing that happened to me because it allowed me to grow up, and a lot of decisions that I made, in college and then once I graduated was for him, which led me to a lot of times the right decision. Had it been just if I was thinking for myself, so. I went into business, started off in sales. I sold everything from lottery to tobacco industry. I was a sales rep, and then I went into sales and advertisement. I worked at the Houston Chronicle, and I sold ads. I was an ad salesman,
Yeah,
and then I got opportunity to be an ad director for a company called Houston Community Newspaper that used to have the Courier out here.
sure.
And so I was an ad director for two newspapers out in the southwest side of Houston, the Katy and the Sugarland Sun. Um, you know, everybody knows the print industry was where that was going, and I kind of saw the trend, so I went into digital, and then from there I started building websites and doing a lot of SEO and SEM and
Mhm.
managing teams there. But my heart was always in the coaching. Like I said, my mom is an administrator. She was a teacher growing up, and I just saw the effect that she had, on people's lives and how, 15 years later, people still remembered her and we would be in malls and movies or something like that. And so I always gave back. I had a mentorship that me and my younger brother and my best friend did. I coached 7-on-7 in my old high school. And so March 1st, 2010, we were doing a reconstruction of our company. And I was moving from a manager to a senior sales rep. And I remember, I'll never forget at that luncheon, I was just like, all right, I'm done. Like, I want to go into coaching. So went home, told my wife, who she was a counselor at the time, but was in education as well. Like, hey, I'm going from this corporate job that I want to go teach and coach. And so, it was a blessing to have somebody that saw kind of what my passion was and my vision. And I tell people I haven't worked a day since. I honestly believe that. We put in the hours, but the enjoyment, the fulfillment that we get every day, to help kids get to where they want to be. And then also, being able to coach a sport, that you love. It's been a blessing. So that was my journey kind of from college on to getting into coaching.
Who was somebody that mentored you early in your coaching days that you kind of can even now think back to things they said, words they said, examples that they said for you, not only in just being a successful coach on the field, but in leading young men, developing people, being a mentor, and exemplifying some character into them?
That's high school, Coach Stewart, Bobby Stewart was, and he just, had passed recently, was like a mentor, in regards to just seeing how things were done. Growing up playing for him, you really didn't understand, and now when I'm older, now I have my own group, I can hear myself, yelling the same things that he yelled at us about. And I kind of like, okay, coach, I get it. I understand why. And not just that, guys that are kind of administration. Dr. Walter Jackson is a superintendent out in LaPorte. He was my first principal when I got the job, and just kind of seeing how he handled an organization of teachers and kids and his relationships, but then how he ran the ship. Coach Kirshner, who's a superintendent out in Brookshire Royal, or the superintendent of Brookshire Royal, he's just about to retire, was one of my first coaches. And keeping that relationship, and so I'm a real fan of successful people. Lucky enough, I'm blessed to have coaches that I know that coach me, that's coached in the league. Donnie Henderson was a coach that coached me in college that won the league and was successful. One of my best friends, Thomas McGahee, right now, special teams coordinator with the Bucks, and just kind of seeing how he's grown from a high school coach all the way to the league, and how he handles grown men, and just hearing how different coaches handle their group. And then my mom. I think that, seeing her impact and her being an associate, she never got her own school, but just seeing everybody come to her and how she's able to have an effect on everybody, regardless of personalities and background and socioeconomic groups, had a huge effect on me as a leader. And so I try to pull from, all of those people, and and have the mindset that I'm truly blessed to being where I'm at, and then have that servant mindset. And that's what I got from her.
As you know, we try to have a show within a show, and we talk about some of these life values and life skills that we learn as athletes when we play, and then how they get applied. And I know you're trying to develop the players that you have now, and let them realize some of these skills. But speak real quickly to some of the things you learned in sports that played a part into decision making, that when you transition from sports into sales, into business, into career, and then ultimately back into sports again right now. How has character played a part in all of those decisions and all of those roles?
Oh, it's huge. It's a huge thing. I still feel like, other than military, older brother that's a Navy, other brother that's a Marine, and then my younger brother's a federal agent. So other than military, I think sports right now is the #1 resource in regards to teaching the successful habits that you have to have in order to be, beyond when you become an adult. I know when I was in business and we would look at resumes, kids or people who put their resumes in that had any athletic background, playing in college or high school, always went #1. You have companies that spend thousands and $10,000s of dollars trying to teach grown-ups how to do the things that you automatically get when you are in sports. Things like, teamwork, overcoming adversity, team player, knowing your role, and working through a process, reevaluating, things like that.
Right.
And so it was huge in my development. I honestly felt like that, even in coaching or even when I was in business, it's one of the things that separated myself. Because when things went bad, I was able to kind of sit back, process, take ownership, first, figure out what I can do better, and then figure out a process to where it doesn't happen again. And then that allowed me to be successful in business, and then having kind of a servant type mentality, like knowing regardless of the position that I'm in, okay, what is my role and how can I help other people get to where they got to go? So it's
Excellent.
huge. It was huge. And those are all things you learn, in sports. Playing football, you may not make the sack, but you may be the one that holds the offensive tackle, and occupies him while your guy can make the sack. At the end of the day, it's about doing your job, to where everything could be executed. You may not score the touchdown, but you may be the receiver downfield blocking that actually has the running back free to score the touchdown, and so, understanding that and knowing that you may not get the limelight and the credit, but knowing that your role is important to the end result, I think is huge.
And that's the first half of our interview with Coach Hardeman. I love his take on who his mentors are and were, and how he got from school into business and then back into coaching again. Great stories. Another one by another great coach. Hey, when we come back from this quick little break, we're going to hear the second half of the interview with Coach Hardeman. Looking forward to it. Stay tuned. We'll see you in just a minute.
Hey, this is Dick Schishler here with Lone Star Community Radio. I'm the program director here at irlonestar.com. I am taking this little break from the Moco Sidelines Sports Show to let you guys know that we invite the community here in Montgomery County to be a guest on any of our shows. We do not charge for on-air appearances because we are a nonprofit, so we want the community to get involved with Lone Star Community Radio. You can always look us up online at irlonestar.com or email the station at lscrstudios@gmail.com. We're also looking for folks who want to start their own show like Mike. So just reach out to the station with your ideas. We'd love to hear them. And we're going to get back to the show here with the Moco Sideline Sports Show.
A lot of people define character, obviously, as how you behave and how you act when people aren't necessarily looking.
Correct.
Like you said, you might be one of the 11 on the field, but if all eyes are on this side of the field because the play's happening here, exactly how are you handling yourself and helping your team
Yeah.
how are you helping your team if your role is to block on the other side? So it always continues to play. You've let's talk about let's get back to football a little bit in the last two games. They've been good games, one loss, one win. But where have you seen character exemplified in those two games?
I think it's easy. I think people is easy to have an exemplified character when you have success. I think that, when you get knocked on your tail a little bit, that's when your true character is revealed. And I think that our true character was revealed 2 weeks ago. It was a big game. We came in, we didn't play our best. I didn't prepare my best, so I take ownership of that. I think the kids played hard enough to win. We just had to do a better job as coaches, putting them in position to where that effort that they had some success. So, I took ownership on that. But just to see the kids and how they supported each other, how they went and, it was fourth quarter and the score was what it was. And they were still, chasing the ball, straining, trying to punch the ball out, trying to get turnovers. And then them really being able to process the game the way that we teach it. And so they knew that, yeah, the score looked at what it looked at halftime, but like you said, it wasn't like they were just moving up and down the field, on us. It was a punt return and short field. And so to hear the things that we preach kind of regurgitated back at halftime, like to us and saying, yeah, coach, we understand, was big. And so like I told the coaching staff, you never want to take a L, especially in district, but we have to grow. We have to become better from it. And just to see the leadership council kind of meet and talk about some things that we could do better. Come to me and say, hey, coach, these are the things that we need. I think we got better from it. So when we got to those same situations last game, from a coaching staff even to a player, we responded and was able to have a better show, a better showing during homecoming. So
You bounce right back. I mean, against a good New Caney team, a rebuilding New Caney. We talked with Coach Benight on our last show and what he's doing to rebuild that program, and they're starting to gain some momentum
yeah,
a little bit. They are rebuilding, but you bounce right back and had a great game with them. So, what do you expect to see the rest of the season? Are there any games that kind of jump off the schedule at you the rest of the year as you try to make another playoff run?
Oak Ridge, like that's the game that jumps off. That's it.
Yeah.
That's our next game. We got bye right now, but Oak Ridge, we get locked in on, and then after Oak Ridge, we'll focus on the next game. But um, we kind of had a conversation about this after practice yesterday, and now when you get in the middle of the season, you have social media and you have the fans and people tweeting, and so the fans are going to talk about certain games for you. Our focus has to be about every single day getting better, and right now our next game is Oak Ridge. There's no bigger game than that. And so, not getting involved and trying to be like fans, we try to explain to them fans are fans for a reason. They can look down the line and they can project and they can have their opinion. But us, we're players, we have to handle things a certain way. And that's why during the game, they sit in the stands and we're on the sideline because there's two different places that you got to be. And so once you understand that and know that the only thing that matters is the people that are on the sideline and what we do, and kind of get locked in. So, for us right now, it's Oak Ridge, and that's what we're preparing, right now to get.
Where the focus should be for sure.
Yep.
For sure. We're joined by CEDRIC HARDEMAN, head football coach of Conroe High School, the Conroe Tigers. Coach, you've been with the school. You've been coaching now since 2017, I believe. So
Yeah.
you know the community well. Talk to us a little bit about the Tiger community, Conroe, the school, the people. What has that community meant to you and your family?
It's meant a lot. This community gave a coach with no head coaching experience that's not from the area. I grew up in Southwest Houston, an opportunity to live out his dream, and for that I'm forever grateful and indebted to the community. It's a special community. It's Conroe High School. I tell people it's one of the blue blood. I say high schools in the state of Texas. I mean it's over 100 years old.
Yeah.
We just had our homecoming and we had class of 78 that hosted the homecoming breakfast the next day. We have people that have played at Conroe that's played three generations, people, grandparents that played. My linebacker coach, grandfather, is one of the murals in the foyer of our athletic wing playing running back, and so you don't have that in a lot of places. It means a lot to a lot of people. They support. And so it's been nothing but a blessing to be here. I honestly feel like that God put me here for a reason. Winning football games wasn't that reason. It was to help kids and help, anything I can do to bring this community. It's a community that works hard. It's a community that supports its people. and does everything they can by kids. And so you can't ask for anything better than that. So, I still live in Houston just because of, with my mom and some of my family members and stuff, and it was easier on my family. And I still make a trip. It's about 50 minutes for me, and I've been doing it for 8 years, going on 8 years now. And I
Yeah.
haven't thought anything twice. It hadn't been a strain on me at all. And it's all because of the people I get a chance to, work with and the people I work for and represent.
Nah, it's a great community, and that's why it's so much fun to do this program and be able to meet so many different people from around the county who are involved in the same career path, but yet bring so many different experiences and stories to our schools, to our community. And it's been great having you here. Before we wrap up, we finish every conversation with what we call the sideline shuffle. Just going to get to know you for a second, have some fun, quick, easy questions. This is
All
kind
right,
of a
we get ready. We get ready.
yeah, here we go. You know it's coming. So this is kind of a
All right.
2 minute drill, no huddle offense. A couple of sports questions, a couple of you questions, but just off
Okay.
the cuff, just something kind of quick and fun and easy. So we'll start it off getting away from sports. Let's talk about entertainment a little bit. Coach, if you have a favorite TV show or a movie, what would it be? And if you could jump into that program, what character would you want to play in that show or movie, man?
Wow. Favorite show, favorite TV. God, man. It's so sad right now. It's because I've been watching like ball and sports for so long, man. Just to go back to like kid days and um you said favorite movie or favorite TV show?
Yeah, just any kind of a program like that.
Uh man. Um I grew up, it was funny, grew up watching a show called Different World. It used to come on after the Cosby Show.
Yeah,
And they had a character on there called Dwayne Wade who was kind of like a nerd, but like real cool,
I
you know.
remember.
And it was real cool because that was like the first viewpoint of college life, And I remember being a kid at the time. It came out, I think I was in maybe middle school, and just kind of saying, "Oh wow, like that's what college life could be like." You know what I'm saying? So, that's probably one of the first shows I remember having like an influence on me to where it kind of gave a visual of like that's what I wanted to be, man. So yeah, I'll pick that one.
I like it. Let's jump from video to music, kind of the same thing. What kind of music do you like? What gets you pumped up? And if you could jump into a band and play with one of your favorite bands, what would you do? What would you sing or play?
I'm a huge music head, man. I'm a closet DJ. Like I have a mix track at home. I got like
Nice.
I worth of music. So depending on what it is, I tell people all the time, I can go from classic rock to listening to hard rock to hip hop to reggae. I can go from listening to like Jay-Z to like Pet Shop Boys. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's an array. Favorite artist, man, is Jay-Z. I'm a huge Jay-Z fan. And so I would probably say, in one of his sessions or one of his concerts, that's probably who I'll pick.
All right. Good time. We'll stay with the music. One more song. What's your favorite go-to karaoke song? Probably going to be a Jay-Z song.
Yeah, probably What More Can I Say by Jay-Z. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can look it up. Yep, that one.
All right, real good. Hey, we'll finish it up. Let's get back to sports real quick. I know you watch some of the NCAA and NFL. You played some NCAA ball. Who's going to win the Natty this year? Who do you like?
Oh, it's interesting because that first week everybody kind of played tough opponents, and then there's been some tough opponents coming in. I think we'll find out a lot about a lot of teams. Oregon's looked really well. And Ohio State looked really good when they played Texas
Mhm.
the other day. And so those two teams I'm really looking at. I know people are kind of down on Texas, but I mean they have kind of a pedigree in regards to they're going to always be at the end. The interesting thing about it before, with the playoffs, that's going to matter a lot. Like it's different compared to when you would have like say 2 rounds and you go, or you play one round and you go. So have to play multiple rounds. I think you're gonna have to have some depth, man. So I think the Ohio States, the Georgias, teams like that have that quality depth. I think it's gonna be big. So I would, yeah, right now, if I had to put my money on one, Kirby Smart, probably Georgia, and then look at probably Oregon and looking at what they've been doing.
What about the Super Bowl?
Ooh,
It's early, but
real early, man. And my wife is a huge Texans fan. I watch pro sports, probably, not like fan, just to kind of watch different guys.
yeah.
And I know guys some buddies of mine that coach, so I kind of check them out a little bit. Tampa Bay is looked legit. They've looked legit. I would say Baltimore until last night. It's kind of early, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Bucks. I'm gonna go with the Bucks, man. They've looked real good.
Mayfield has looked better than he has.
Yeah.
He's having one of his better years already. So.
Yeah, he is, and he kind of has that. I was watching SportsCenter last night, and they were talking about they like this type of Mayfield. Like he kind of had this little arrogance, little chippiness, little swag about himself.
He's
And
got some swagger.
yeah, that's the Mayfield that when he's out there feeling like he can conquer the world. He's a problem, man. He kind of had that when he's at OU a little bit, when he transferred in. So, and the thing about that, and I even tell our quarterbacks like that kind of thing is contagious. When your quarterback has that, it can spread throughout the team, and they're tough out.
All right. And before we let you go, and again, appreciate you taking a minute to join us and get to know you a little bit better. We're going to catch up with you again before the season's over. We'll be following you all the way. But before we let you go, anything else you want to say about your team, to your team, or just to the community?
Just the community, man. I mean, I want to tell people, if you haven't had opportunity to come up here and visit Conroe, please come. This may sound like an infomercial for Conroe, Texas, but I mean, it's a beautiful place. There's a lot you can do. I mean, you can do from everything from hunt to fish, but just the community is big. It's not too many places where you have people who've had season tickets since like 1965. You have people who use their season tickets in their will. And so at Conroe, it matters a lot. And so, check the schedule, not just Conroe for us, but Conroe ISD in general, and come out and support the Tigers.
Yeah, because you've got some big games coming up the rest of the season too. You've got you mentioned Oak Ridge, obviously, and I know it's always one game at a time, but I can sit and look at the schedule and know you've got some tough ones coming up. There's some good teams in this district. So
no, it's a very good teams, and when I tell people it's a talented district, but it's a well-coached district. And I think that's what I try to tell a lot of people. I mean, I know, what they call the SEC, which is up there with Summer Creek and North Shore. That district, gets a lot of pub, and rightfully so. There's great coaches and great teams in there. But I think that, if you look at year in and year out in regards to, the teams that, go through, and we're a little different. We're in Houston, but we go Region 2 as well. That'll go in all sports. Our district is very tough, and we have some quality kids every year that sign and go play, big time ball. So it's no short of that this year. So it's going to be a tough stretch, but like you said, we're going to get locked in on Oak Ridge right now, and after we finish that, then we'll move on to the next step.
Go get them, Coach. Hey, man, we appreciate you being here, Coach Hardeman. Again, you've been on the Moco Sidelines Sports Show. Thanks again. We'll catch up with you real soon.
Thank you. Sick 'em Tigers.
Coach Hardeman, thank you so much. That was a great conversation that we had with him. 3 really great takeaways that I heard him say, the things that I'll remember. There is no bigger game than the next game. We asked him, hey, if anything jumped off the schedule, and he said, hey, there's no bigger game than the next game. Any coach will tell you, hey, it's one at a time, but that was a great way to phrase that. He also said what matters most are the people on the sideline, referring to his players. So just really a player-focused, just a real great players coach. And obviously he loves the Conroe Tiger community. Thank you, Coach. And when we come back, we'll pick up with the interview with head coach Jim Rapp with the Woodlands Highlanders. Hey everybody, this is Mike with the Moco Sideline Sports Show. Some of you know I also produce a really cool, fun local event. We do it once a year. This will be the 8th annual Texas Custom Knife Show. It's right here in Conroe at the Montgomery County Fairgrounds, November 8th and 9th. If you are a fan of the TV show Forged in Fire from the History Channel, this is what we do, and you will love this show. This is a gathering of some of the local and best knife makers around Texas and around the country. We have knife makers coming in from coast to coast, but it's not just an opportunity to see and buy local knives. We have a lot of contest demonstrations and displays. There's more to see and more to do at this show than any knife show and a lot of other festival shows that you may have been to. This year, November 8th and 9th at the Texas Custom Knife Show, we will actually have a Make It and Take It souvenir station. 4 knife makers will be dedicated all weekend to doing some fun, cool stuff with you. You can actually make your own souvenir blade and take it home. We're also doing what we call the EDC Challenge, Everyday Carry Challenge. You can bring your own pocket knife or small blade out, and there's a small little safe obstacle course that you can participate in. It's a timed event. There will be prizes. So you can actually come and compete with knife makers and other people around the community. That's just two of the cool things to do. We also have a live charity auction for the Operation Red Wings Foundation. And then the coolest thing that we do is the Battle of the Blades. 4 knife makers will actually, in their own forges, produce their own custom knife made to certain specs, and we will do live dynamic judging just like on Forged in Fire. One winner will be determined, and that judge will be none other than Jay Nielsen from Forged in Fire. He'll be right here live in Conroe. He'll also hang around, meet everybody, do a meet and greet, pictures and autographs and all that cool stuff. It's 2 full days of a lot of fun, cool stuff to see. If you like custom knives, there's a lot to do and have fun here. More to see, more to do. Tickets are on sale now, and you can get all of the information and your tickets and VIP tickets at TexasCustomKnifeShow.com. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, TexasCustomKnifeShow.com. See you at the show. Good morning, everybody. This is Mike with the Moco Sidelines Sports Show, brought to you by Lone Star Community Radio. We are joined this morning by Coach Jim Rapp, longtime head coach for the Woodlands Highlanders, football coach for the Highlanders. Coach, thanks for joining us this morning.
You bet. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, I know you've got a lot going on. In fact, today's game day, so we don't get in the way of your schedule. This is homecoming. Tell us real quick a little bit about what's going on with the game tonight and homecoming tonight, and how's the team?
Well, homecoming, the week of homecoming always creates a little bit of a problem for coaches, and plus we got a short week, so you just got to work. I got to remind the kids of the important thing, and that's playing football. And it's not about the dance or what they're going to do afterwards or anything like that. It was as long as you take care of business on Thursday night, then the rest of your weekend is going to be good.
You've been doing this for a while. You know how to manage the team. You're 3-1. You're already off to a real good start this year, and you're 3 times now getting through to the regional semifinals. So you're off to a good start this year, and I think you've got a good handle on things. Tell us about the season so far.
Well, we've got a solid group that's here. Defensively, we're as good as we've been in a long time. As far as that goes, defensive play. Offensively, we got Jack back at quarterback, and that's really good. We've had the thing with our place is that we graduate so many kids that sometimes it takes a little while to gel when you have new kids come in. So we've got a new offensive line this year, and they've had some growing pains in the first few ball games, but they're getting better. And we've got came off a loss last week to Willis, and we worked hard to make ourselves better this week, and looking forward to play on Thursday. Actually, today.
Yep, exactly. And we'll come back to the Willis game. I don't want to do it too long. I'm going to have just a couple of questions on that. I know you've already put behind you and that game behind you, and you're moved on and ready for tonight. But as we talk about you and the team, I want to come back to that here in just a minute. But let's just talk about your style as a coach. You're a longtime Highlander. In fact, you played for Woodlands, McCullough, I think. So played here, coached here. Tell us a little bit about what the community means to you.
Well, my parents moved out here in 1972. They still live in my childhood home. And, my dad's 91 and my mom's in her late 80s. And, so it's good to have them around. But I've seen this place grow up. When we moved here, there's a whole lot more woods than there is now. And, the Woodlands wasn't even a thing. So I, got to see a lot. And this is really, my son graduated in 2014, and there were 35,000 students in Conroe ISD. Now there's 70. So, it's just crazy how things have blown up.
Yeah, so fast for sure. You got 8 or 9 high schools now, and it started out with 1 or 2. To me, it still feels like a small town, and I actually grew up in a small farm town in Kansas. I've been here best part of 25 years now. But I love how our community a lot of times still has the small town feeling. People kind of treat you that way when you're out and about in commerce and on the streets and things like that.
Sure.
Still a lot of friendly folks and a lot of smiles. So
Yeah.
wonderful community.
Yeah,
And
it's a great,
the
this whole area is a great place to be, really is. This area of Montgomery County and Conroe ISD, the people that are here in our group is just, it's, like you said, they're some good people.
it means a lot to guys like you and me. You're a little bit old school, and I can say that because it takes one to know one. So we played some ball back in the old days. I've read a little bit that your style might be a little hard nosed, that you really do focus on the discipline and the basics of the sport. Tell us what you're like as a coach. What's it like to play for you, Coach?
Well, I look at, I think back to myself as a position coach when I coached offensive line forever here. And I probably, if I coached for me today, I probably would have had to fire myself probably 5 or 6 times. So I was a taskmaster when it came to offensive line play and making sure that we were technicians and did the little things right all the time. And to me, as a head coach, I'm allowing my coaches to coach. I'm not a micromanager. I've got offense coordinator, defense coordinator. Those guys do their thing, and I think my job is to just make sure we're in the right spot, doing the right things. And I'm the they all understand my discipline and what my expectations are. In our world, everything is focused on me, and you can't be a great football team if all you're worried about is you. So we try really hard to build the team, to build a family, and I think that helps us. A lot of the lessons that I learned as a head coach, I learned from Weldon Willig, who was my head coach for 2 years when I was in high school, and he hired me. So just the little things are so important, and it's as much as we're great, but we wear long white socks at practice. We wear this. The kids have to have a uniform they wear every day. The coaches wear a uniform that we wear every day. I think that uniformity is important because it's the first thing people see about you a lot of times. If everybody walks out and they look exactly the same, it's like what? That's just an automatic thing for people. That's like, wow, they got it all together.
Yep.
So I guess a player's coach. I'm not overly hard on my coaches or my kids. Expectation is that they're giving their best effort. That's all I can ask of them. So, I don't, my coaching style is old school. It is very much fundamental. I believe in fundamentals and discipline. So.
You touched on a couple of things that really speak to the character of your style and the team itself. You mentioned it's not about me, it's about the team. It's not about individual players. With the Moco Sideline Sports Show, we did a show within a show. Obviously, we're here to get to know you, the players, and what's going on with our high school sports, but we try to weave a theme into every show that talks about a life skill and a virtue and a value that we learn from sports and then bring into life. This show, we've been talking about character a little bit. We've spoken in other shows about things like confidence that's gained that can be applied into the workplace, family place. We talked about teamwork. Today's show, we're kind of talking about character a little bit. So you touched on it. So I appreciate the great transition that you had there. If we were on the sidelines of a game or on headset listening to some of the coaches, what would we hear in terms of what's going on with the team, how to call a great game, who's calling some of the plays, offense and defense? I know you're a little bit more of a defensive guy. What would we hear and see if we were on the sidelines of a game?
Oh, well, it depends. There's a lot of coaching that goes on. Sometimes it's pretty hardcore as far as just getting on to kids about doing things correctly. A lot of encouragement, a lot of positivity, a lot of trying to get kids. Let's say we have 80 kids on our roster. Well, there's only 11 that can play at a time. Keeping those kids engaged and being a part of what's going on is something that's important. So there's a lot of encouraging of the guys that are on the sidelines to be involved in the game. But overall, coaching is one of those things where coaches maybe get a reputation of being too hard or things like that. But they want, my guys want our kids to be the best that they can be. you know, we coach them to do great things, and they have great things in them. And I think a lot of times the passion that you see is just because this kid has it in them, you know, and they just got to be able to let it out. And so a lot of times it looks angry, but it's really more passion than anything else. I know I'm guilty of that. You know, I've got a lot of people don't like talking to me because I look like I'm mad all the time, but I'm not mad all the time. That's just you know, constantly thinking about how to be better. So, um, but I think overall our sideline is positive. We have our moments, but there's a lot of coaching that goes on, a lot of encouragement that goes on. When you talk about what it's like on the headsets. There's a lot of information that's being transmitted between the offensive coaches and each other, the defensive coaches. When I need to step in and, you know, hey, if we're a little gassed right here, we need a timeout, just let me know, we'll get it. You know, things like that you know, hey, we're in 2-down territory right here. Those are my kind of deals that I'm involved in, because those guys all take care of their business really well.
I said we'd come back to the Willis game with one quick question. So kind of on that same note, as far as coaching, the encouraging, if we were in the locker room at halftime when you were in the middle of that battle trying to come out with a W, what would we have heard in the locker room?
Oh, you know, the things that I talked about is that, you know, we have to remember who we are. You know, our, uh, the, I guess there's a lot of people that doubt. There's some doubt about us, and you know, we're successful because of numbers or different things like that. But there's a whole lot of hard work that goes into to being successful. And you know, Coach Hardeman at Conroe High School talks about, you know, he said, y'all been in the playoffs 30 years straight. And so when you think about it like that, a 30-year straight run of being in the playoffs and the success that the program has had, you know, you got to work hard to keep that going. And so I remember who you are is the message at halftime, and that we can't beat ourselves. And you know, we had at that point in time we were in a close ball game. We knew we were going to be the last 2 times we played them. It was a close ball game, and knew we were going to fight to the end. So just making corrections and let's go play football.
Perfect. Sounds good. Sounds good. Definitely would have been encouraging, and I know they were inspired by it. Is there any of the players? We always like to take a chance with our show here. We always like to give you an opportunity to give a shout out to any players or recognize anything that's been a great achievement. Have there been any players on the team so far that have surprised you or inspired you as a coach?
Well, I'm constantly amazed with what our kids do. You know, 9 times out of 10, when you look at who we're playing, you compare us to who we're playing. There's a lot of times you're going to pick the other team, and I'm just impressed with just the way our kids compete. You know, we came out on the wrong end, but on Friday last week, but we were in it the whole time. We were fighting the whole time. We were competing the whole time. You know, if I call out one, I got to call out a ton. But you know, one of the kids that I think is impressive is Kason Bartolozzi, our safety. He's fantastic. He I think he's unbelievably instinctive defensive player. He's always around the ball, intercepting, tackling, making tackles at the line of scrimmage. You know, from safety depth. I mean, just so many things that he does in the return game, on special teams. I mean, he's just a fantastic football player and young man to have on our team. You know, I don't know if anybody has surprised me with their play, because everybody's done what I would feel like the expectation is. I always get in trouble because my wife gets mad at me when I don't always say good job for doing your job, you know. And because as an offensive lineman, if I'm supposed to take a 6-inch step, I take my 6-inch step. I don't expect to get praised for doing my job. You know, that's something that you have to do. So you know, there's so many kids that are out there that are just doing everything that they need to be great. You know, I just, the fight that our kids have is one of the things that really, really is something that I like.
Well, it definitely shows. It's definitely paying off all the work that you put in the off season. all the preparation and everything that's gone into the season so far. 3-1 record here for the Woodlands Highlanders. We're joined by Coach Jim Rapp. If you're just tuning in, this is head coach Jim Rapp with the Woodlands Highlanders football team. Coach, before we wrap up, I have a kind of a special invitation for you, actually. Usually we end up with what we call the sideline shuffle. I just do a few 2-minute drills, rapid fire questions to get to know you, maybe your entertainment preferences and things like that. We just kind of usually ask some of those questions, but I've actually read and heard a couple of interviews and some stories about you. I know you like some of your loud music a little bit. You and I have some similar tastes there. I go back to some of the hair band days of the 80s as well. You like some loud music, but I also read you're a fan of the TV show Forged in Fire.
Sure.
I've seen that in a couple of places. Is that right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a heck of a deal.
Where does that come from?
I just think as a kid, I always liked watching people who were good at work, good at what they did. So it doesn't matter if you're a painter or an electrician or a plumber or work on a sprinkler system or whatever. If you're good at what you do, taking down trees, whatever it is, I like watching people that are good at what they do. I think you can learn a lot, even though it's not my profession. I can learn a lot from how they organize things or how they go about doing things. And so to take a piece of metal and to turn it into an incredible knife, it's just that's unbelievable to me, to take something that an iron ball and make a steel ball and make a knife out of it it's crazy.
Coach, I've got a surprise for you and a special invitation. I know you don't know me well, and the Sideline Sports Show is a brand new project for me, but for the last 7, this is now the 8th year, I co-produce the Texas Custom Knife Show right here in Conroe. And we basically do Forged in Fire right here at the Montgomery County Fairgrounds. I don't know if you've seen or heard about the show. This time of the year, you're super busy, but November 8th and 9th, if you can get away, it's a Saturday and a Sunday, and I know you're still playing ball in early November and about to make a playoff run, but we would love to have you as a special guest, a guest judge. You could actually get to meet Jay Nielsen from the show. He'll be here along with several bladesmiths who've competed. My partner was on the TV show. Coach, I'll get back in touch with you. If you can join us on a Saturday or a Sunday morning, please come out and we'll have you as our special guest.
I appreciate that. Thank you. That'd be fun.
Hey, before we wrap up, anything that you want to say about the team, to the team? We really appreciate you joining us here. Again, it's game day, it's homecoming day, and you've taken a few minutes for the show. What do you want to say on the way out?
I don't know that I have any message per se about a whole lot of anything other than the fact that so much of what we do as coaches, we're trying to help guide young men to being great young men, to being great dads, to being great husbands. We're sons and brothers, and that's, to me, my biggest goal is to try to help them when they and we got great parents, great support here, but not everybody has it all. So we try. I think my coaches and we were trying to help parents produce good young men so they'll be great dads and great people that are help our society be great. So to me, that's kind of what we're doing. Yes, I have to win football games, but I think my most important job is to help mold young men. So I'm excited that I get to do it every day, and it's my 35th year in education, and my 8th year as a head football coach, and it's all been in this system, and I love being here, love being a part of it. So
I love how you said, even as a great parent, not everybody has it all. It takes a whole village sometimes, and you're a big part of our village, Coach. Thank you for what you do, for what you're doing for and I know you're having an influence not just on the young men on the team, but even around the whole school as well. So thank you for how you're raising up great people in our community. We appreciate it.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hey, we'll let you get back to it. You've got a busy day. Coach, good luck tonight against, is it Caney Creek?
Yeah, we have Caney Creek tonight. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, enjoy the homecoming. Good luck with the game, and we'll be back in touch and follow up with you later in the season.
Sounds great. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yep. Dick Schischler again here with Lone Star Community Radio. I'm reaching out to you guys to let you guys know that the Moco Sidelines Sports Show is a volunteer host show. We are a nonprofit station. That means we're looking for donations and sponsorship. If you want to partner up with the Moco Sidelines Sports Show in a sponsorship format, look us up online at irlonestar.com/Moco Sideline. That's irlonestar.com/Moco Sideline. We are a 501c3 nonprofit, and everything goes to the production of the show to make sure we're still on the air with Mike. That's irlonestar.com/Moco Sideline to sponsor and donate to support the show.
Thank you, Coach Rapp. What a great conversation we had with him. One of the things that stood out to me that he said when we were talking about character and what he said to his team during the Willis game is he said, remember who you are. Remember what you're here to do, and just remember who you are as a player, as an athlete, as a person. And that just speaks. And I think that kind of conversation really registers with an athlete. I can still remember things that coaches and even my teammates said to me, to us, that really made each game, each season, each event very special. So thank you, Coach. Appreciate that. Best of luck tonight as well. Again, a big thank you to Lone Star Community Radio for allowing us to do show number 2. Hopefully this is the start of great things to come. Hey, I know some of the technology with the Zoom and the green screens and everything isn't the best. Yeah, I'm just a guy that's here trying to do a fun show, put together something to recognize the special things in the community. I actually have a Zoom call with Zoom tomorrow to kind of work out some of the technology bugs. So believe it or not, that's actually a thing. You get to Zoom with Zoom to work on some of your tech stuff. So, just kind of goes to show that we're not always perfect. And, I'm stepping out to do something kind of fun and new that I think is there's a lot of great stories to tell, and they need to be told right here in our community. So I'm just a guy trying to have fun and figure it all out as well. But I couldn't have done it without the confidence that I learned as an athlete, without figuring out how to put pieces together and kind of do some of these things and be able to speak with some of these coaches. Again, we almost had Coach Tommy Sledge from Oak Ridge Volleyball on the show this week. We barely missed an interview with her. And hopefully we'll get her on the show real soon. She's very proud and very excited about her team and the successes, and as in her words, they have a lot to celebrate and a lot of stories to tell. And it was great to watch them play this week. So reach out to us. Make sure you follow the show as we try to get this known around the county. You can always catch this show and other great podcasts and shows on irlonestar.com. That's the website for Lone Star Community Radio, irlonestar.com. Catch this show on Facebook at Moco Sideline Sports Show. You can catch it on Facebook. And please reach out to me and email me at Moco Sideline Sports Show at gmail.com with stories, ideas, things you want to share, stories that you want to be told about your athletes, your kids, just athletes and stories and coaches around the school. Again, my email is moco@sidelinesportshow.com. Well, we're about to wrap up show number 2. Again, you can always download these shows on Spotify, catch us on YouTube, and soon we'll be up on Apple as well, so you can stream it there. I think that's pretty much everything that we had to say this week. Oh, also, don't forget, you can also sponsor the show, so get more information about that on the website, irlonestar.com. Partnering with a sports production, especially when it focuses on amateur high school sports like this, what a great way to grow your brand, your business, and partner with something sports related in our community. Obviously, sports marketing is a huge opportunity and industry nationwide. Look at what the Super Bowl ads can generate and why people fight to be seen during the Super Bowl every year. We're no Super Bowl, but we're having a lot of fun talking about sports, and we can do a lot to grow your business as well. And the best part of all, when you sponsor a show on Lone Star Community Radio, Lone Star Community Radio is a 501c3 nonprofit. So everything that you contribute is tax deductible. So what a great benefit to you in multiple ways. So thank you again to Lone Star Community Radio. Dick, thank you for doing a great job behind the scenes, and enjoy the show, and we'll see you next week.